Assalamu alaikum. We're Aziz and Rashida Cooper back in September 2003 as delegates on the first Muslim exchange program. We visited Yogyakarta and Jakarta.
We were both looking for opportunities to return to Indonesia, and in 2005 a friend sent me an ad by Australian business volunteers looking for a piano teacher. I worked at the music studio doing training with the teachers and also demonstrating classes in early childhood music.
In Bandung in 2006, not long after the Boxing Day tsunami, I met a group of businessmen who formed an NGO known as the Aceh Recovery Project. They invited me to travel with them to Aceh to assess the damage and assist the survivors of the tsunami with microfinancing programs. It was a real eye-opener. It was a wonderful opportunity to serve and to learn ways of supporting people as they recovered from disasters.
In 2009 we decided to go back to Indonesia again and visit some Australian Muslim friends, and they told us about Peace Generation. They took Aziz to meet Irfan Amali, who had been quite involved with this project, and lo and behold, Irfan already knew Aziz because of the Muslim exchange program. So Peace Generation is an educational project. Through this program, over 500 teachers have been trained and over 23,000 students across Indonesia. I was also invited to speak about the Peace Generation project at the Parliament of World Religions.
So in conclusion, the Muslim exchange program was a great avenue and way of introducing us to Indonesia, and it's a very valuable program.
Assalamualaikum. My name's Brenna Rafferty Brown and I went on the MEP program to Indonesia in 2006. Coming home from the exchange, I continued to help out as a volunteer guide with Indonesian MEP visitors to Melbourne. In 2007, I started working on a research project at La Trobe University which was looking at the experience of international refugees living in Indonesia. Through my guiding experience in Australia, I had become good friends with a number of Indonesian MEP alumni. And so I emailed a few friends to help us find some Indonesian researchers to work on the project. Over the next 6 months, we started working with 6 fantastic Indonesian researchers who provided us with over 100 in-depth interviews. It was an incredibly valuable experience. Assalamualaikum. My name's Kate Greeley and I participated in the 2010 MEP. Following my return to Australia, I kept in contact with MEP alumni and friends, and in 2012 I was offered a voluntary role teaching at a university in Yogyakarta through these contacts. When my volunteer contract finished at the beginning of 2013, I was offered a role at an art dealership based in Yogyakarta. This was a great opportunity. I knew that if I was to continue living and working in the country, I would need to learn the language. In 2014, I began a course in Bahasa Indonesia at the University of Indonesia with funding from the State Government of Victoria's AIMEP Scholarship Program. In the same year, I commenced a Masters in International Relations as an off-campus student at Griffith University in Australia. In 2015, 2 of the highlights here included working with the Wahid Institute, helping to establish the Australia-Indonesia Hip Hop Coalition, and making a new record with friends from Yogyakarta. I've also almost finished my Masters with a thesis about the policing of religious violence in Indonesia. Some of the insights I gained from the Wahid Institute helped me a lot, providing perspectives I would not have thought about had I been studying the area from afar. A final experience that I can't leave out was meeting my husband in Indonesia.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asma Hilal and I took part in the Australia-Indonesia Muslim Exchange Program in 2012. My engagement with Indonesia post-MEP has been very rewarding. It started off with an exciting project in partnership with Rumah Cemara, which is an organisation in Bandung using football to promote health and reduce stigma around HIV. I was fortunate to meet them during my Muslim Exchange Program experience. With the support from the Australian Embassy, Football United delivered a women's leadership program. Just last year, in 2015, I was invited by the International Centre for Islam and Pluralism based in Jakarta with the support from the Australian Embassy to take part in a 2-week-long pilot project which involved me going out to different communities and schools in Indonesia to promote girls' participation in football. We hope in the future to work together to establish some long-term football programs for girls in Indonesia. From a local perspective, we invited some of the Indonesian exchange program participants to engage in the Football United activities. It's really a great exchange. If you're taking part in the Muslim exchange program this year, I wish you all the best. If you are not a part of the program, then I urge you to apply next year. It will change your life.
My name is Mubina Ahmed. I was honoured to be accepted into the Australian-Indonesian Muslim Exchange Program 2015. I was so inspired by the experience, I wrote a series of 6 articles in a community newspaper, the Australasian Muslim Times. The articles were a chance to reflect on the wonderful time I had in Indonesia, documenting stories and experiences. I was able to capture the interesting people we met along the way, the organisations we've connected with, the kinds of interesting places we went to, and the way I felt at the time. I had a few small project ideas I had put forward. They included a photography training course for 5 Pesantrens, an interfaith festival, and finally an MEP documentary. The documentary would have been an opportunity to showcase the MEP experience, capturing how the participants learn about the rich heritage of Islam in Indonesia and meet key organizations and people. The most important aspect of the project was to interview participants in the beginning, middle, and end of the experience. This would capture their expectations, present experience, and reflections on the program. Since the experience, I've been in touch with the Australian Embassy in Jakarta, sending them copies of the newspaper. I've been in touch with my fellow MEP participants, as well as our wonderful tour leader, Ann. I would encourage future participants to make sure they remember their time in Indonesia and to ensure they seek to connect any kind of community initiatives between the two countries.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Yusuf. I'm alumni of Australian-Indonesian AIMEP 2015. Alhamdulillah, throughout this program, I have been given chances to visit impressive Pondok Pesantren Darul Al-Qalam. I believe that Mas Aan graduated from that pesantren. I was asked by Mas Aan to give a motivational speech to students, and I was really impressed to be seeing the enthusiasms of the student there. So Mas Aan and I had an interesting conversation about a workshop on personal development and learning, which we are planning, alhamdulillah, to conduct in Pesantren. And inshallah, we are thinking of inviting Mas Aan Rukmana to Darwin in June this year to complete a proposal for our program and conduct a seminar, inshallah, at the Charlestown University on importance of Australian-Indonesian relationship. Indonesian consul to Northern Territory, he's really happy to sponsor Mas Aan to come here, and he's also happy to help us in any possible way he could. So please make dua for us. May Allah select us among those who bring benefits to our communities in all our actions.